People who have never worked nights in a museum think it is all echo and romance, like the building is politely waiting to be discovered. It is not. At 2:15 in the morning, the place feels like a body holding its breath. My radio crackles before I even clock in. I hear my name, then a pause like someone weighing a decision. Finally, a voice says, calm and disappointed, "You should have told us you were going to move it." My hand freezes on the logbook. I do not ask what. I already know the tone, the one that assumes the facts are settled and I am about to lie. I press the talk button. Move what? Dispatch answers the new piece. Gallery 7. It is on camera now and it was not earlier. If you touched it, you need to report it. I look through the glass at the darkened galleries. Gallery 7 is the rotating space near the east wing, the one still closed to the public because they are installing a temporary exhibit for a donor event. I have not been in there since yesterday afternoon, and even then I stayed behind the tape because the registrar was watching like a hawk. I say, I did not move anything. Dispatch does not argue. That is worse. The voice just says, copy. Check it. My supervisor, Marina, is in the booth with a cup of coffee and the kind of tire that makes people sharp. She swivels her monitor toward me. On the screen is a live view labeled G7 North. A white plinth stands under a cone of work light. On it sits an object that looks like a simple paper cup, the kind you get at a gas station. It is dead center like it belongs there. I stare at it until my eyes ache. Marina says, that was not there at midnight. I hear myself answer, there is no way a cup is in Gallery 7. She taps the keyboard, rewinds, plays. The cup is not there. The plinth is bare. The timestamp ticks. The camera hums. Then at 2:12, on a single frame, the cup is there. No blur, no hand, no shadow. Just present. Marina looks at me the way dispatch sounded. Like she already knows what I did. Like she has decided the only mystery is why I am pretending. I feel he climb my neck. I want to defend myself, but a deeper part of me is listening to the building, to the tiny noises that should not matter. Air handling. The far click of a relay. My own swallow. Marina says, you are on the floor. Go verify. Do not touch anything unless you have to. Call me when you are at the door. I take the ring of keys. It is heavier tonight. I tell myself it is just the way my hand is holding it. The museum after hours has a smell like chilled stone and old paper. My flashlight beam slides over glass cases, over labels that seem too bright in the dark. The motion sensors blink green and then settle. As I walk, I keep thinking about that frame where the cup appears. Not dropped, not carried in, not placed. It is like someone edited reality. I reach the staff corridor that leads to Gallery 7. The door is locked, as it should be. I put my ear to the seam. I hear nothing. I key in. The lock clicks. The door swings inward with a soft sigh. The work lights in Gallery 7 are on low. The room is half finished. Crates stacked along the wall, tools put away. The plinth is there, exactly where the camera shows it. The plinth is empty. My flashlight beam circles it twice, like the cup might be hiding behind the square edges. Not there, just clean painted wood. I speak into my radio. I am in Gallery 7. The plinth is empty. No cup. Marina answers immediately. I am looking at it right now. It is on the plinth. The skin on my arms tightens. I take 2 steps closer. I put my hand on the edge of the plinth. I feel the cold paint, the faint texture of dust. Nothing sits on it. Nothing. I look around the room. The camera in the corner has its red indicator on. I wave my flashlight at it. Marina says, do not wave. Hold still. I freeze, then slowly turn my head toward where the camera is mounted. I can see it. It can see me. Yet Marina is seeing something else. My radio crackles. Marina says, stand to the left of the plinth. I want to see if you block it. I move left. Careful. Slow. I position myself between the camera and the plinth as if I am trying to shield an invisible thing. Marina says, you are standing behind it. I whisper, what? She repeats, you are standing behind a cup. I look down at the plinth again, close enough that my breath fogs the surface. I slide my hand through the air above it, expecting to bump something. My fingers meet nothing. I feel stupid, like someone is playing a trick with a feed delay or an overlay, but the timestamp is live. My own movements match the monitor in my mind. I say, there is nothing here. Marina does not answer for a moment. When she speaks, her voice has changed. Less accusation, more caution. She says, step back. Do not touch the plinth. Leave the room and close the door. I hate that I want to obey. I hate that I do. I back away, keeping the plinth in my beam. The beam makes the painted surface gleam. Still empty. At the threshold, I pause. Something in me insists I look one more time. I sweep the flashlight across the plinth. For a fraction of a second, the beam catches the rim of the paper cup. White, ordinary, with a faint brown stain like old coffee on the lip. Then the light passes and it is gone. My heart trips. I swing the flashlight back. Empty. I tell myself I saw a reflection. A trick of angle, but the image is too specific. I stay in. I step into the corridor and pull the door shut. The lock clicks home. My radio hisses. Marina says, it just moved. I press the button too hard. Moved where? Marina says, it is not on the plinth anymore. It is on the floor beside it. Like it fell. I stand with my forehead against the closed door. I imagine the cup falling in an empty room, making that soft papery thump. I imagine it rolling, stopping. I have not opened the door. There is no airflow, no vibration. Marina says, listen to me. We are going to do this carefully. I am calling facilities to come in. I say, facilities will not come in at 2:30. She says, then we handle it. But you do not go back in alone. The problem is I am already alone in the corridor. Marina is in the booth. The museum is a wide dark mouth between us. I start walking back toward the main desk. My flashlight shakes. I tell myself to breathe. There is a rational answer. A camera glitch. Right. Something. The radio pops again. Dispatch says, we have a note on your file. About the cup. I stop mid-step. Note on my file. Dispatch says, from last week. You signed an incident report about a paper cup left in the break area. You wrote that it made you uncomfortable. My stomach turns. Last week I do find a cup on the counter in the staff break area, long after the cafe is closed. It is not unusual for someone to leave trash, but this cup is placed exactly in the center like an offering. When I pick it up to throw it away, something makes me look under the rim. There is a message printed under the rim, tiny black letters that you would never see unless you check. It says, thank you for moving IT. I do not tell anyone about the message. I do not even put it in the report. I only write cup found after hours, disposed of. Dispatch is wrong. There is no note about that. Unless someone added one. Unless someone read my mind. I say, I did not write that. Dispatch says it is in the system. The museum feels suddenly too scripted, like lines are being fed to me. I reach the booth. Marina is already pulling up footage, her face pale in monitor light. She says, look. She points at the Gallery 7 feed. The cup sits on the floor now, tipped on its side. The plinth towers above it like a pedestal that rejected the offering. Marina zooms in. The camera picture grain thickens. The cup fills the frame. There is writing visible beneath the rim, not printed like a logo, something like a label. Marina squints. I lean closer. The letters are upside down at first. Marina rotates the image. It reads 91300. I stare at the numbers until they stop meaning anything and become only shapes. Marina says, is that a time? I do not answer. My mouth is dry. The numbers change. 91259. My brain refuses it for a second. Then the next change happens and I cannot deny it. 91258. It is counting down. I feel a pressure behind my eyes, like tears without emotion. I whisper, that is 9 hours. Marina says, 9 hours until what? As if in response, the cup shifts, not rolls. It adjusts a tiny rotation on the floor, turning the underside of the rim toward the camera like it wants to be read. The count continues. 91247. Marina moves her mouse, brings up other camera angles. Gallery 7 has 2 temporary cameras set for the installation. One from the south corner, one from the east. On the east angle, the cup is not on the floor. On the east angle, the cup is on the plinth. My lungs forget their job. Marina says, that is not possible. I watch both feeds at once. In one, the cup sits on the plinth like an exhibit. In the other, it lies on the floor like trash. In both, the countdown ticks in perfect sync. 9:12:30. Marina pulls up the camera health panel. No errors, no signal loss. Timestamps align. I say, if it is real, we should go get it. Marina snaps her head at me. No, do not touch it. I want to agree. I want to stay behind glass and screens. But the thought of that countdown running while we do nothing feels worse. It feels like being told a fire alarm is going off in a room you cannot see. My radio clicks. Dispatch says, another thing. Someone left you a voicemail on the museum line. Marina says, play it. Dispatch routes it through the speaker. A phone ring, then a recording. The voice is close to the mic, intimate. It says, you should have told him you move it. Now it has to count. The message ends. Marina turns the volume down like the sound itself is dirty. She looks at me. Her eyes search my face for something she can name. I say, I did not move anything. She says, then why is it talking to you? I do not have an answer. The building seems to lean in, listening. Marina says, we call police. I imagine explaining to an officer that a paper cup is appearing in one camera angle but not in the room and it has a countdown under the rim. I imagine their expression. I imagine them thinking I am on something. I say, they will not come fast. Marina says, then we lock down Gallery 7 and keep everyone out. I watch the countdown. 9, 10, 12. My mind grabs at details. 9 hours from now is late morning, when staff arrive, when docents come in, when the museum wakes up. 9 hours from now the building will be full of ordinary noise and the cup will still be counting. Or it will reach 0. My phone buzzes in my pocket. A number I do not recognize. I do not want to answer. I answer anyway. A man speaks without greeting. He says my name like he is reading it from a form. He says, you moved it off display. That breaks the agreement. I say, who is this? He ignores me. He says, put it back where it was when you found it. My throat tightens. When I found it, he is talking about the break area cup. The one that said thank you for moving IT. The one I threw away. I say, I disposed of it. He laughs once quietly, like I have said something childish. He says, you moved it. The line goes dead. Marina is watching me. I can see my reflection in the booth glass, my face washed out by monitors. I say, someone called. They want me to put it back where it was when I found it. Marina says, where did you find it? I hesitate. Telling her makes it real in a way I cannot undo. I say, break area, on the counter. Marina says, and you threw it away. I nod. Marina looks back to the screens. The cup sits in Gallery 7, counting down. She speaks like she is trying to keep her voice from shaking. She says, it is in there because you threw it away. It is treating the gallery like a trash can. I almost laugh, but it dies in my chest. The museum line rings again. This time it rings on the desk phone. Marina stares at it like it is a snake. I pick it up before she can. The same voice says, you have 9 hours. I say, 9 hours until what? He says, until it is displayed. I grip the receiver. Displayed where? He says, where it belongs. Where you put it? I think of the plinth. I think of the cup on it, centered in light like an artifact. I think of the way it appears on camera, but not in the room. I think of the way it turned itself to show the numbers. I say, I did not put it there. He says, you moved it. You will move it again. Then he adds, check under the rim. The line clicks off. Marina says, what did he say? I do not answer. I am watching the feed. The cup is still. The countdown is not. 9744. Marina says, we are not going back in. But my feet are already moving. Not toward Gallery 7, not yet, but toward the break area. I do not know why. Maybe because the voice told me where it belongs. Maybe because my brain wants a simpler horror. A cup on a counter, a message you can read, something physical. The break area is down the staff corridor. I push open the door and flick on the light. The room is empty, chairs tucked in, vending machines humming. The counter is wiped clean. Except for one thing. A paper cup sits exactly in the center of the counter, bright white under fluorescent light. It looks new. It looks like it has been waiting. My breath catches so hard it hurts. I do not touch it. I circle it like it might bite. I lean in close enough to see the rim. There is a faint brown stain on the lip, exactly like the one I saw for a fraction of a second on the plinth. My fingers hover beneath the rim, not touching, just close enough to feel the cool air near it. I remember the voice. Check under the rim. I tilt my head and look. Tiny black letters, printed cleanly like it came from a factory that makes secrets. It says 9612. The number changes. 9611. The cup on the counter is counting down too. My stomach drops as my mind connects the feeds. There are two cups, or one cup in two places, or one cup that only exists where it is being watched. Behind me, the vending machine compressor kicks on with a sudden low growl. I flinch so hard my shoulder hits the door frame. The overhead light flickers once. Just once. But in that flicker, I see a shape reflected in the dark microwave door. Someone standing behind me. I spin around. The room is empty. My radio crackles. Marina says my name sharply. Where are you? I cannot pull my eyes off the cup. I say, break area. Marina says the cup in Gallery 7 just disappeared. I stare at the cup on the counter. The countdown keeps moving. 9502. Marina says it is gone from both angles. There is nothing in Gallery 7 now. I whisper, it is here. My voice sounds small in the bright room. The cup makes no sound. It does not move. It simply counts. I reach out, finally, and pinch the very edge of the rim with two fingers, barely enough to feel the paper. It is cold, not chilled like a drink. Cold like something that has never been warmed by a hand. The numbers continue. 9441. My phone buzzes again. Unknown number. I do not answer. The buzzing stops, then starts again. Insistent. I answer. The voice is closer now, like he is standing in the room with me. He says, put it back. I whisper, back where? He says, on display. I look at the cup, at the clean counter, at the empty chairs. The museum feels suddenly like a set built around this object. I say, if I put it on a plinth, will it stop? He says, it will begin. The line goes silent, but I can still hear breathing for a moment, slow and patient. Then nothing. I stand there with the cup in front of me and the countdown under the rim dropping second by second, and somewhere in the building a camera is still recording a gallery that now has no exhibit at all. My radio pops again. Marina says, do not touch it. Do you hear me? I whisper too late. The overhead lights flicker again. Longer this time, and in the dim I see the cup is no longer on the counter. It is in my hand. I do not remember picking it up. The paper feels dry, weightless. The numbers under the rim are still there, still changing. 9319. I try to set it down. My fingers do not open, not like they are cramped, but like the decision is not mine. I hear a sound from the far end of the break area, a soft scrape, like a plinth being dragged across a floor. There is no plinth in here. The scrape comes again, closer, and the cup in my hand turns by itself so the message under the rim faces me fully, like it wants to be read without effort. The numbers keep counting down. 9300. And beneath them, a new line of text appears, printing itself letter by letter on the paper as if the cup is swallowing ink. It says, thank you for moving, IT back. The scrape stops right behind the door. Someone knocks once, gently, like they are polite. My hand, still holding the cup, lifts toward the door handle on its own.